Hello, everyone, and welcome to Women Winning Wednesdays. I am Elsa W. Smith, your Maryland estate planning attorney, and I'm the owner of the law offices of Elsa W. Smith, where our mission is to empower women through estate planning. Through our guests and educational content here, my hope is to give you glimpses of what an empowered woman is and the tools that she needs to win. Now, a bit of housekeeping. We are streaming on StreamYard, so if you haven't done so already, please make sure to give StreamYard permission for us to view your comments. Go to streamyard.com/Facebook. That's streamyard.com/Facebook. So, our topic today is year-end estate planning tips for 2021. Year-end estate planning tips for 2021. We are just a few days shy of, welcoming in the new year. This is always a good time to, just reassess what's happened over the course of the year and, have a strategy for how we're going to walk into the new year. So in planning for today's show, the two words that came to mind, and as a result, how I'm going to organize today's episode, are simply two words or two tips that I have: reflect and review. Reflect and review. So let's get started. The first tip is to reflect. Now, before the year comes to a close, I encourage you to look back and determine if any of the following have occurred: your marriage, divorce, or remarriage, the birth or adoption of a child, or did you welcome a grandchild or a great-grandchild into the family? Was there a death of a spouse or of a family member? Was there illness suffered by you, your spouse, or another family member? Did one of your children reach the age of majority, or did they become an adult, in other words? Were there significant changes in the value of assets that you own? Did you buy or sell a principal residence, or did you buy a second home or an investment property? Did you or your spouse retire? Or did you receive a large gift or an inheritance? Now, after you've taken a mental inventory using these points as a guide, I then want you to think about beneficiaries and fiduciaries. Now, in my last episode, I talked about fiduciaries, so you certainly want to go back and listen to that show if you didn't have a chance to already. I'll place a link to that show in the comments or below this video. As you review your estate plan, and for those of you who are prior clients who are watching the show, this is a good time to, lay eyes on your estate plan. So take out that portfolio, and you may want to walk through this review with us. Ask yourself, have any individuals named as beneficiaries or fiduciaries passed away? Are there individuals or charitable organizations that should be added or removed as beneficiaries in your plan? Have there been marriages or divorces that would impact your estate plan? Is there a beneficiary with special needs receiving government assistance? Do you need to protect a beneficiary from a divorce, creditor issues, substance abuse, or gambling issues? Has the power of attorney changed, or does it need to be updated? Do you want to update any of your desires or your wishes in your advance directive for medical care? Now, after you've thought about beneficiaries, think specifically about minor children in your estate plan. Have any of your children reached the age of 18 or the age of majority? And I mentioned this a second ago. If so, they no longer need a guardian. By the way, if they became adults this year, this is a good opportunity to start the conversation about their own estate plan. And you can serve as a model for them and get them started. If your child is a single adult with no spouse or children, perhaps you can discuss, bring it up, the possibility of having your child appoint you to act on their behalf in, say, a power of attorney or an advance directive. As we are, in the giving season, the gift giving season, I should say, think about financial gifts that you'd like to make. According to the IRS, the annual gift exclusion amount is $15,000 for 2021. In 2022, that amount is set to increase to $16,000. The lifetime gift exclusion was raised to $11.7 million in 2021, this year. So why am I mentioning this? The annual federal gift tax exclusion allows you to give away up to $15,000 each, like per person or organization, to as many people as you wish, without those gifts counting against your 11.7 million lifetime exemption. Now, I'm not a tax professional. I certainly am friends with a number of them. So I would encourage you to contact your CPA for further information on how to reduce your tax liability this year. We've talked a lot, or we've talked a bit about reflection, or the importance of reflecting in 2021. Now we're going to transition to tip 2, which is to review. Now that you've reflected, it's a good time to review your estate planning documents. If any, as I said, any of my prior clients are listening, take notes. Look at your plan. I'm going to touch on commonly used estate planning documents in this part of the show. Before I do that, do you need to confirm and share the location of your documents? Be sure that they are in a safe place, but in a place where they can be accessed by your fiduciaries and family if necessary. Let's start by talking about the Maryland Advance Directive. Do you need to review who you've appointed as healthcare agents? Are you planning to undergo a procedure, especially one with high risk associated with it, like the use of general anesthesia? And that's where you're unconscious and have no awareness of sensations. Do you need to confirm that your clearly expressed wishes regarding end of life treatment options are accurate? Have you changed your mind regarding the provision of artificial nutrition, hydration, and any life prolonging medical procedures? Like I tell my clients and others who when I teach, an estate plan is an ever evolving document. It's not a set it and forget it. Your opinions, your values, your feelings about certain things may change over the years. And as those feelings and situations change, so should your estate plan to reflect that. Now let's talk about the power of attorney. A few things to consider here. Do you need to review your appointed agents, your agent and your successor agent? Do you want to limit their powers for any reason? Have your agents moved out of state? Will it be feasible for them to reach you quickly if necessary? Now let's talk about the revocable living trust for those of you who have one in your estate plan. Do you need to review your trustee or perhaps a co-trustee appointment and their successors? If so, think about whether they're capable of fulfilling their duties. And, consider the costs and benefits of appointing a corporate trustee. In other words, a bank. There are many banking institutions that have a trustee department, and just think about whether that's a good option for you. Did you or do you need to fund the trust during your lifetime? If so, think about what assets you're going to transfer into the trust and when. Now let's look at the last will and testament. Do you need to review your personal representative appointment and, of course, successors? Are they capable of fulfilling their duties? Have they moved out of state? Have they moved out of the country? People get relocated, if they're in the military or if they're in a job that all of a sudden requires them to take a position overseas. Remember that a personal representative will need to be local to be able to handle many of the tasks that cannot be handled remotely, and they're quite a bit. And generally speaking, a personal representative is responsible for opening the estate, goes through probate, collecting the assets of the estate, protecting the estate property, preparing an inventory of the property, paying various estate expenses, and addressing valid claims made against the estate. And eventually, of course, distributing the estate property, to the appropriate beneficiaries. Now, again, we're with our thoughts on the last will and testament. Think about your plans for minor children. Does your plan include trust provisions, whether that's a testamentary trust or a living trust, to control the time and the amount of access to funds? Have you named one or more guardians? Should the person who is the guardian of the child be the same person that is in charge of managing the funds you've set aside in trust for that child? If you've named a couple as guardians for your child, consider whether consider the suitability of that choice if one of those in that couple dies or if they get divorced. Think about your tangible personal property. Do you have an extensive music collection or an art collection? Is there perhaps sorority or fraternity memorabilia that you need to bequeath to someone or gift to someone? Have you given some thought to who you'd like to inherit those collections? Has that changed? Have you been pushing it off because you think it's too complicated and there's just way too much to think about? This is something that we help our clients with. We had a client who had an extensive album collection. And however, she wanted to give the albums to, different people. So she couldn't just say, well, I gift all of my albums to X. So we assisted this client in categorizing that extensive list, organizing it, and that list became part of her estate plan. We were able to help the client put thought to paper and get that list organized. She had a tremendous sense of relief when we completed her estate plan. Think about digital assets. Now, a number of things created online are what we call digital assets. Those include domain names, social media accounts, cryptocurrency, blogs, email accounts, electronic financial information, loyalty program benefits. Yes, points like airline miles or hotel points. Electronic files stored in the cloud, including all those photos and videos you have. Online game personalities and electronic medical records. Those are all considered digital assets. Have you accounted for those digital assets in your estate plan? Does your power of attorney give an agent the authority to manage those assets? Have you made provisions in the respective social media accounts to assign someone to say close down the account when you pass away? Now let's look at non-probate assets, retirement accounts and life insurance policies, for example. Those pass directly to your beneficiaries without any court intervention. You want to confirm the status of your beneficiaries with each investment institution. Consider whether the way in which you named beneficiaries is still what you want, and the amounts that you want to go to each beneficiary. Is that still in line with what you want? Don't forget about your bank accounts. Is the distribution that you're making in your bank accounts, by beneficiaries? In other words, if you have a bank account with say a balance of like 10, 20,000, and you named 2 beneficiaries to that, and again, this is assuming that it's your individual account. Do you still want the balance that's in that fund, that account, to go equally to those 2 beneficiaries, or have you had a change of heart? Consider, like I said, whether the distribution is what you want. And are there any inconsistencies with any other part of your estate plan? As we come to the end of 2021, we need to pause and just give thanks that we have made it. There are many that we know who have not, sadly. That fact alone should underscore that life is not promised. We can, however, take responsibility to have a good quality of life while we're here. We can take steps to minimize the overwhelm experienced by loved ones when we become incapacitated or we die. We can take steps today, right now, to ensure that we've done all that we can to leave a legacy that we would be proud of. So to review, we talked about the 2 tips essentially that you really should employ as we close out 2021. And they are to reflect, and tip number 2 is to review. Reflect and review. I want to wish all of you a very Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. On a programming note, our episode next week will be a replay of a prior episode. I'll return with another live show in 2022. And listen, before I go, if you don't even have an estate plan and you were intrigued by what I shared with you today, give us a call. If you're in Maryland or the District of Columbia and you want to set up a strategy call, give us a call. Reach out to us at 410-995-7719. Our contact information has been scrolling at the bottom of the screen. And I want to offer you a free resource to get you started. It's our estate planning jumpstart guide. I'll post the link to the jumpstart guide underneath this video. It's basically how to jumpstart your process, your estate planning process in 7 easy steps. I think you could really benefit from it if you don't have an estate plan already. Thank you for tuning into this episode of Women Winning Wednesdays. If you need assistance, as I said, we are here to help. I'm Elsa W. Smith, your Maryland estate planning attorney, empowering women through estate planning. Have a safe and happy new year, everybody.